Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Fall in Love with Series Nonfiction. My name is Heather Booth, and I'm one of the editors here at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email that you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download those items, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble accessing these materials, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar and a button with Q&A. If you have a question or if you need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so that they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the Captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. From there, you can select Show or Hide Captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Sarah Eason, publisher at Cheriton Children's Books, Catherine Camisa, the marketing director at The Child's World, Miriam Moore-Keish, content strategist at Capstone, and Anna Erickson, the vice president of sales at The Creative Company. First, we'll hear from Sarah Eason. Sarah has worked in children's publishing for more than 30 years and is passionate about creating nonfiction that kids love to read. She set up Cheriton Children's Books in partnership with Learner Books a few years ago and has since been busy publishing nonfiction for upper elementary, middle school, and high school readers. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah.
Thanks, Heather, and hi, everyone. Well, we've got lots of nonfiction for middle school and high school readers to show you, so I'll get straight into it, the first series, which is It Happened to Me. We've added another 4 titles to this existing series, which focuses on important teen issues. The new titles are Having Depression, Having Body Dysmorphia, Having Anxiety, and Being Bullied. So this series really opens up the conversation about teen mental health, looking at its causes and what it's like to experience each problem. It also provides real-life examples of celebrities who've had to deal with each issue. These are looked at in the It Happened to Them features. So, for example, this one talks about Taylor Swift and her experience of being bullied at school. And one of the key features of this series are its diary spreads, which give day-by-day accounts of what it's like to go through problems, such as being bullied or having body dysmorphia. These make the topics really meaningful and relevant to teens and help them learn to think and talk about very difficult emotional issues. The series really opens up the conversation about teen mental health and well-being and provides avenues for teens to find help if they need it. Next up is Teen Survival Guides, which looks at helping young people navigate the sometimes rocky teen years in the best way possible. It does that by providing them with key tools to manage themselves, their relationships, and the wider world. So we have 4 titles: Developing Social Awareness, Learning to be Self-Aware, Learning to Self-Manage, and Managing Your Relationships. Each book provides 10 key skills that will help teens handle situations they may find challenging, such as dealing with relationship problems. So, for example, in managing your relationships, some of those skills include communication, compromise, empathy, and respect. And these core skills are explored in workshop features that run through the books. These workshops look at situations teens can sometimes find really difficult to manage, such as learning to handle other people's emotions. So, for example, this workshop looks at the importance of empathy. It shows how not being able to show empathy can make another person's upset really difficult to handle, both for you and for them. Then on the following spread, we show the same scenario and how it's much easier to manage when you use empathy. And at the end of each chapter, we have a sum up spread which recaps all the tools learned so far. So essentially, the series gives teens the key skills they need to take care of their mental health and support them as citizens, friends, and family members. So next up, we have Practical Careers for Practical People. This set of books shows young people who don't want a desk job how they can have a really rewarding hands-on career. We have 6 titles: auto mechanic, carpenter, chef, cosmetologist, electrician, and plumber. Each book looks at why practical careers are really booming, the current shortage in the labour force, and why now is a really great time to get into a skilled and hands-on job. The series looks at training routes and qualifications and shows young people how to get started in their chosen career. And there are lots of examples of people who've built a really great career in each area to inspire young people that they can do the same. And importantly, each book shows girls that today is a really great time to get into a practical career that's been traditionally male-dominated. Lots of different jobs are looked at in each book, along with a huge range of exciting areas to work in, such as the military. And next up is Teen Online Survival Guides, a sister series to Teen Survival Guides. This series gives teens the crucial skills they really need to navigate the challenges of the digital world. So we have 4 titles: Dealing with Cyberbullying, Managing Social Media, Spotting a Scam, and Understanding Deep Fakes. Each book really digs into the topic, detailing why it's such a problem in the online world. So here we look at cyberbullying and why it's a massive issue today when kids go online. We also have features in this series that help explain step by step how to deal with different online scenarios that teens might come across, such as what to do if you're involved in an online scam. And again, at the end of each chapter is a sum-up spread that goes over all the key skills learned and how they can help you navigate your digital world. We also have 4 more titles in the Mission Survival series, which focuses on endangered animals and conservation. The new titles are Shark, Chimpanzee, Rhino, and Whale. And these sit alongside the original 6 titles in the series, which are Asian Elephant, Gorilla, Orangutan, Sea Turtle, Snow Leopard, and Tiger. Each book looks at why the animal is in danger and the problems it faces as a result of human actions. It also looks at conservation efforts of people worldwide to protect the animal and shows readers how they can help. Every spread has really stunning photos of animals in their habitats, and each book introduces the concept of ecosystems and the role animals play in them. We also look at the key physical adaptations of each animal and how it survives in its environment. So here we look at the shark and what makes it an apex predator. Spotlight on spreads focus in on one particular challenge facing the animal, such as the threat to chimps because they're hunted for bushmeat. And the series also has the R factor, when we focus in on mothers and babies with adorable photos of baby animals. And at the end of each book is a call to action section, which shows readers how they can help endangered animals and how they can build a career in conservation too. And all these titles published on January 1st with the original 6 in the series available to buy now. Engineering Evolutions is a technology series that looks at the amazing way engineering has evolved since early human times to the modern day wonders we see and use today. The 4 titles are Beating Natural Disasters, Construction, harnessing energy and transportation. Each book begins by looking at the history of engineering and how early humans developed life-changing technology, such as building canoes to travel across water. And you'll see there are sidebar features on this spread, and these are really key to the series. They show crucial turning points in engineering history that paved the way to later inventions. How it works sidebars are another key feature of the series. These break down how important engineering tools work in practice. So, for example, here we look at how a wind turbine works. Again, at the end of each book, we have a careers section, which looks at the wealth of great jobs available in each area. And we also show readers how they can kickstart a career in engineering right now, such as by joining STEM clubs and camps. And all books are publishing on January 1st. And another series publishing in January is Money Matters. This is a really relevant financial literacy series for teens. The 4 titles are Budgeting, Jobs and Taxes, Loans and Credit, and Saving. Many studies show there's a real lack of financial literacy education for young people, so this series sets out to address that gap. Each book explains what financial literacy is, why it's so important, because it shapes how you relate to money and use it for the rest of your life. Key financial skills are explained really clearly so readers can quickly and easily get to grips with core financial knowledge. So, for example, here we focus on different budgeting styles and how to use them. And we also have Get Financially Fit features in each chapter, which give readers top financial tips on how to handle their money. And the final chapter of each book shows readers how they can take their newfound financial skills into adulthood when money matters even more. Lastly, we have 21st Century Debates, a 4-book series that's also publishing in January. This set looks at critical social and political issues affecting our society, from drug wars and gun violence to homelessness and how to help refugees. The books dispel common myths and misconceptions about each issue, instead giving readers the core facts they really need to fully understand the topics. The series gives important social and political background to each topic, so readers can develop a fully informed understanding of the issues. Each book has debate spreads, which set out different arguments about the subject, such as what causes homelessness and how to classify it. And readers are then asked what they think after reading both sides of the debate. This encourages them to review the arguments, think critically about the topic, and draw their own conclusions. And each book concludes by asking the reader to think about how it might feel if they found themselves in one of the situations discussed. And it puts forward the concept that these 21st century issues won't go away unless we address them as a society. And that wraps up our latest series. All books are available to order via the Learner website. And you can find more of our titles there and also on our own website, cheritonchildrensbooks.com. So thanks very much for listening, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing those books on such important topics. Next, we'll hear from Catherine Camisa. Catherine has worked in children's publishing for over 15 years. She believes every child is a reader if you get the right book into their hands. Thanks for being here today, Catherine.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for being here as well from us. I'm excited to share our new nonfiction series for this fall. And just a little bit about the Child's World before I begin. Since our beginnings in 1968, our goal has remained simple. We want all young children to truly enjoy reading and learning. And as always, all of our books are available in that reinforced library binding as well as ebooks. And first, we have Kickoff to Football, a 12-title series written at a first grade level, interest K to 3 in 24 pages. And this is a team sports series, but with a different angle. This series was inspired by our production manager's son, who at the time we were developing the series was kindergarten, first grade, passionate football fan, and they really struggled to find books at that beginning reading level. with information about his favorite team. Most team books, team sports books tend to come in at that second grade or above reading level. So we really decided to fill this gap in the market and create this photo-filled series that helps kids build their reading skills while learning all about their favorite teams. And so there is an emphasis on supporting early readers. And as you can see, the books have this engaging, easy to read text, a large font. It's a clean yet engaging design with lots of white space, so not as to overwhelm beginning readers. There are full color and historical photos. Um, there's short fact boxes that appear throughout, offering additional details related to the team. And the books are laid out so that each spread focuses on one aspect, such as the mascot, the colors, players, and more. There's also a conference map in each book pinpointing where the team is located. A full color photo of the team's field also appears in each book, and it is diagrammed to highlight the main parts of the football field. In the back matter, we have a fast facts section appearing with key takeaways about the team. So it's a really fantastic high interest series for young readers, and sports books like these are really rare at this grade level, making them a surefire hit for young sports fans who are just learning to read. Now I want to talk about some series that we published under our under our various imprints. We have a family of 5 imprints: Storytime Tales, First Steps, Wonder Books, Stride, and Momentum. And these imprints are dedicated to covering a range of subjects from illustrated classics to narrative nonfiction. And we have one new series being added to the imprint, Storytime Tales, Read Aloud Illustrated Classics for Birth to Grade 1. And it is Fairy Tale Classics, an 8-title series written at a 3rd grade level, and they're 24 pages. And everyone is familiar with these classic fairy tales, but our collection, they are retold in some unique ways while remaining faithful to their original intent. There's charming original artwork to help depict the journey of each classic tale and brings those captivating stories to life. For back matter, it includes Beyond the Story, which provides additional information about the story itself, such as the country of origin and the meaning behind the story. There's also a think about it section with exercises to foster a deeper understanding of the content, as well as a simple activity. And as you can see from that top spread, they're from Cinderella, where readers are encouraged to role play and ask questions of the fairy godmother. So young readers will be captivated by these timeless tales of magic, adventure, and valuable lessons in these unique yet faithful retellings, each offering a fresh perspective on a beloved classic. The next 3 series are part of our Wonder Books, early nonfiction filled with wonder imprint for grades 1st through 3rd. And this imprint is meant to open a child's world to the wonders of learning through elementary-friendly nonfiction. And first up is our Value Biographies, an 8-book series written at that 2nd grade level, and they're 24 pages. And this inspiring series highlights the connection between character and achievement by showcasing the lives of historical and contemporary figures and the important values that guided their actions. Vivid images help introduce readers to the value and more information about the person exemplifying the character trait. Primary source text is also utilized throughout as short quotes accompanied by a black and white graphic of the featured person. Along with an in his or her own words page containing a lead-in to a larger or longer quote, paired with a spot illustration as well as attribution. All of the primary source text is giving voice from the person's own words. And as with any book within our Wonder Books imprint, each of these books contains a Wonder More section with critical thinking questions, discussion prompts, and writing exercises to strengthen learning. This series also contains a fast facts section, as well as an activity for hands-on learning. This is a really engaging series and character education that highlights 8 individuals teaching kids the importance of values. The next series is Polar Baby Animals, an 8-title series written at that 2nd grade level, 24 pages. And readers will meet the adorable young creatures of the Arctic and Antarctic, where life thrives in frigid conditions. This series offers a variety of features to give readers an up-close look at the remarkable baby animals. The opening spread starts with an introduction to the animal and its habitat and includes a map highlighting where the animals live. Each book also features engaging full-color photography. An infographic in every book compares the baby and adult sizes of that animal, illustrating the differences between them. You've got informative sidebars that provide additional information, such as in beluga calves, which you see at the top of your screen. And looking at that sidebar on beluga teeth, it describes how some other whales don't have teeth, but belugas do. And they don't use them for chewing, but to grab and tear away at prey. So these are facts that kids will find really engaging, yet in part relevant facts about the animal. Like in the biography series, each of the books contains that Wonder More section with critical thinking questions and writing exercises to strengthen learning. There's also an activity like in Penguin Chicks, which encourages readers to make a habitat using an old shoebox and other easily accessible items. It's a wonderfully appealing series for young readers to learn about polar baby animals. Next, we have Human Body Systems. This is an 8-book set written at a 3rd grade level, 24 pages. And this series introduces readers to some of the body's most important systems, including a title that explores the sensory organs. Large, colorful photographs accompany clearly written text. Age-appropriate diagrams, such as the parts of the respiratory system that you see, enhance readers' understanding of how these systems work together to keep us healthy and functioning. There are large, detailed, informative sidebars, as well as small fact boxes that are paired with spot illustrations that provide additional details related to that body system. You're also going to have that Wonder More section with questions and exercises to get kids thinking and talking about what they've read. This series also has a fast facts section, as well as an activity for hands-on learning, such as how to make a stethoscope using simple materials. It's a really great STEM series to help children learn about our essential body systems. The next 2 series are part of our Stride, Reading and Learning in Step imprint for grades 2nd through 5th. These are dynamic, high-interest books crafted to fuel the desire to learn and energize a love of reading. And first we have USA Travel Guides. This is our state book series, and it features all 50 states plus 2 US territories, Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico. It's written at a 3rd grade level, and they're 40 pages. And readers are in the driver's seat in this adventure-filled series, where each book uncovers the unique story of a state or territory, highlighting its history, agriculture, culture, landmarks, and influential people. It's designed like a fun road trip diary. So the series features these unique design elements, things like a spiral binding appearance. Though it is only a design element, of course, these books are in reinforced library binding. Then you have a family and a vehicle touring the state or territory. There's road signs used as informative sidebars and to give fun facts throughout. And including all of these unique design elements, it's still providing all the essential information about each state or territory. And that first step is always an introduction to that state and gives some highlights. There's maps, colorful photos, and illustrations to showcase each state's defining features. For the back matter, there are review questions under the section Our Trip. And each book also highlights the state's symbol, seal, flag, song, and famous people. It's a fantastic series introducing kids to the wonders of the USA, perfect for any library in need of new state books. And last, we have our professional hockey team series. It's an 8-title set written at that 4th grade level, 32 pages. And hockey is an action-packed sport which millions of fans enjoy watching each year. In this series, readers will explore 8 of the top teams, including each team's star players, the team's history and traditions, and the moments that define each team. Each book has engaging full color and historical photos. There is a short timeline highlighting 4 moments in the team's history, as well as tons of stats. Legendary and current star player information is presented in this fun player card design format. For extended learning, there are fast facts with quick information about each team. as well as a One Stride Further section with questions and exercises to encourage critical thinking. And kids will just love learning about their favorite hockey teams with this series. And thank you, everyone. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, Catherine. What a wide diversity of titles and topics in there. Next, we're going to hear from Miriam Moore-Quiche. Miriam is a content strategist at Capstone. She holds a BA in English from Macalester College and a Master in Philosophy in Education and Critical Approaches to Children's Literature from the University of Cambridge. Miriam has written and edited books for all ages, developed and consulted on book concepts, supported the development of an anti-bias preschool curriculum, taught creative writing, guest lectured, interviewed, and led author panels, reviewed books, and engaged in other general bookwormery. It sounds like you've done it all. Thank you so much, Miriam, for being here. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. I'm Miriam Moore-Quiche. I'm a content strategist at Capstone. Capstone is a leading educational publisher for digital solutions, children's books, and literacy programs. And today, I can't wait to introduce you to our new series nonfiction brand, Brain Candy Books. This brand launched just 2 months ago on August 1st, 2025, with 5 series, and we have plenty more planned and in development. Brain Candy books are browsable nonfiction books intended primarily for self-selection and recreational reading. We explore new and different types of fun text formats like lists, jokes, would you rathers, almanacs, even these magazine-like celebrity profiles. And all these dip in, dip out style series build a love of books while boosting confidence in reading skills. Recent research shows that engaging in self-selected texts is associated with higher learning outcomes, and that reading socially, like comparing answers with friends while paging through a Would You Rather book, is instrumental in establishing lifelong reading habits. Since its beginning, Capstone has been dedicated to serving struggling and reluctant readers. But the reluctant reader now looks really different than they did in the early 90s when we were founded. Multiple leading indicators are telling us that students are reading less, almost never for fun. Reading stamina is also taking a hit. And not to mention, we have TikTok now and the boom of short form content across platforms. So we have to shift our nonfiction focus to today's readers and how they consume information. Brain Candy books are for the chronically online, late elementary, and middle school readers. Regardless of if a reader is struggling or reluctant, they could use these books that beat brain rot. So, our solution is to lean into what makes content craveable. Brain Candy books give readers fast dopamine hits of humor, high interest information, and striking visuals. Like with a social media scroll, once you read a page of a Brain Candy book, suddenly you're reading another, and now you're finishing the book. This short form inspired nonfiction umbrella pushes topics third through fifth grade kids actually want to read and actually want to talk about. And that motivation, combined with this punchy format that we explore, provides a really stealthy way for readers to build back stamina on their own terms. So I'm excited to tell you more about each of our new Brain Candy series this season. First on our launch season of Brain Candy are these dishy, magazine like profiles of kids' favorite stars. Your favorite stars titles don't have a running narrative like traditional biographies. Instead, they use multiple text features like lists, quizzes, activities, short narrative bursts, fun facts, infographics, and diagrams, all to provide up to date content about the stars that kids love. Kids don't have to read front to back, so they can jump to the features that most interest them, which also encourages rereading. Kids can go back to these books multiple times to discover even more information. To give you a taste of how interactive and fun these books are, the Lionel Messi title includes a fill in the blank feature with fun facts about Messi, an activity where kids can make their own paper soccer ball, an infographic on the records he's set, including most World Cup appearances, which is 26, and most assists, which is 379. Then we have a Simone Biles title, which includes a fun infographic about her crazy ability to jump during her floor routine, which has reached 12 feet above the mat. So essentially, she could jump over an Asian elephant or a camel. There's also an activity to make painted turtles, which is her good luck charm, and then a narrative about the importance of mental health and how Simone Biles prioritizes that in her professional and personal life. And as you can see on the slide here, we couldn't do a series on celebrities without Taylor Swift. So in her title, readers will encounter a Name That Song quiz that tests readers' knowledge of some of her most popular lyrics. There's also a text feature about her well-known love of cats and an inside scoop on the Eras tour, all about making friendship bracelets, even a quiz about her Eras costumes, about the concert movie, and then a breakdown of the tour by the numbers including the over 6 million tickets sold. We also have these Sports Illustrated Kids Everything Sports Almanacs. Kids want to know everything about the sports they love, the playmakers, the stats, the wins, the losses, and they can find all of that and more in this dynamic new series of almanacs full of the sports information that kids crave. We've developed it in partnership with Sports Illustrated Kids, and Everything Sports Almanacs puts young sports fans in the action with high interest information on the leagues, the greatest games, standout plays, team dynasties, iconic players, and the record breakers, all presented in these multiple text styles. These almanacs are perfect reads for young sports fans and the readers who love facts and trivia. Like your favorite stars before it, instead of a traditional running narrative, the information is broken into small narrative chunks, facts, lists, infographics, quizzes, timelines, and other features, none of which need to be read in any particular order. Kids can browse these books and go to the information that they're most interested in, which will keep them reading and rereading these titles. We cover baseball, basketball, hockey, and soccer. In the hockey title, I learned that the coldest winter classic games was played in 2022 between the Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues at a brisk -6 degrees Fahrenheit. So good thing I wasn't playing, as if I would. Next is Info Fanatic. The titles in Info Fanatic all have amazing information on topics kids love, and it's all presented in list format. These lists vary in length and are a browsable way for kids to learn about technology, the paranormal, nature, and amazing things all around the world. Some lists provide brief additional information for context and comprehension, but in general, this list format and the focus on browsability make these titles great resources for reluctant and struggling readers. What I especially like is that the list format sparks curiosity. Kids may want to learn more about the different items, which encourages inquiry and maybe further reading or research. And it can also spark debate about whether or not the items should be on the list at all, or maybe if we as a publisher forgot something. So, for example, one of the lists that kids can explore and debate in the paranormal title is a list of top clues that a ghost might be nearby. This list includes strange smells, unexplained sounds, cold spots, electronics losing power or malfunctioning, and missing objects. And maybe you yourself can think of something you'd like to add or something you'd like to take off. Next is Would You Rather. It's a pretty obvious choice for Brain Candy books. Our Would You Rather series gives kids a choice between two gross, scary, daring, or maybe uncomfortable choices. The choices in each book are connected to a single theme for that title. Then there's a brief introduction to set up the topic and how to interact with the questions for readers who might be unfamiliar with Would You Rather. Then each book jumps right into a slew of Would You Rather questions. Just for fun, I'll give you a few examples. In questions about animals and nature, would you rather have lobster claws for hands or suction cups all over your arms like an octopus? In Lifelong Ago, would you rather cure scurvy by bathing in animal blood or gargling urine? And in Spooky Stuff, would you rather wash the scales of the Loch Ness Monster or massage Bigfoot's toes? What differentiates this series from other Would You Rather titles is a Think Again feature that asks kids to think twice about their original choice and debate the factors that they might not have considered otherwise. For example, to the question, would you rather have 8 legs like a spider or 750 legs like a millipede? A Think Again burst reminds readers that they will need to buy shoes for each of those legs. So you gotta dish out for the 750 legs like a millipede. And last for this season, in Fact Frenzy, readers get the inside scoop on all things from pets to dinosaurs, history to space, and more. Surprising facts and unexpected photos will jump off the page and get lodged in the brain. These high interest fact books combine the facts that kids will want to read and share with a bold, colorful, and sometimes humorous design. The shareability factor is key here. We want kids to use these books to connect, not to isolate. We want to remind consumers that books aren't just for bedtime, they're not just for quiet time. Reading books can be loud. Some of my favorite facts from this season, which I will share loudly with you now, are that a domestic cat set a speed record of 30 miles an hour, which is faster than sprinter Usain Bolt. And from Dinosaur Fact Frenzy, velociraptors were actually the size of chickens. And then this last slide has a sneak peek of some of our upcoming brain candy season. This will release January 1st, 2026. And then I have our social media handles and some contact information if you have any questions or if you want to follow up on anything after this. I'd love to hear from you. And I'm always here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miriam. What an energetic and fun collection that is. Finally, we're going to hear from Anna. Anna has worked in children's book publishing for over 25 years and is stubbornly convinced that all children deserve access to high quality reading material. I think you're in good company with this group today, Anna. She is based in Oakland, California. Thanks for joining us, Anna.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. All right, we're going to put up some slides and we'll get underway. All right. As many of you know, the Creative Company is the home of several independent publishers, including Creative itself, as well as Amicus and Black Rabbit Books. Each of these publishers has its own unique mission, and they work together to provide a beautiful suite of titles for pre-K all the way to high school, focusing on series nonfiction, but also including some picture books and board books as well. All of the series nonfiction we do is available in library-bound hardcover. Most of it is also available in paperback, and it's all in ebook format. And about 80% of what we're going to look at is also available in Spanish in those same formats. So we're really happy to have offerings in multiple languages. Creative is approaching its centenary. So it was founded in 1932, and we're looking ahead to celebrating the first 100 years in the not too distant future. But for fall 25, we'll start with Amicus, because Amicus is really where it all begins for us. They are dealing with the youngest readers, the emergent to transitional phase, and for them, that begins with Spot. Spot is a wide-ranging brand of books that deals with an ATOS level of about 1.0 or under. So they're very low level. And they make that a rich reading experience by positioning each book within a search and find framework. So with every title, no matter the content, in this case, motorsports or community helpers this season, you get a little search and find game set up at the very beginning with an answer key at the back. One of the hallmarks of Spot is these clean, crisp photos, really open design, and a text that is cohesive, even though it is still very low level. Next on the Amicus pantheon of brands is Curious About, which brings us a Q&A format for the second grade reading level. These are not just Q&A books, they're Q&A from a kid's perspective. So they're dialing into what questions are relevant and interesting to a 7-year-old. This season, Amicus is presenting the evergreen classic of sharks, because there can never be too many shark books. And I like the fun that they have with these. For example, with the cover of the black tip reef shark, how it's making off with the S in the name, but also the relevancy of these books. We're doing a lot about things like coding and tech these days because it's so ever present in daily life as well as school for the kids that we're trying to serve. So look this season for block coding, Lego, Dash and Dot, and the like. And we also have a continuation of our favorite brands series for the same age range. These are books that dial into the history and the relevancy of brands that kids are dealing with on a daily basis. All of the curious about titles are photo rich, and the Q&A format is presented in a way that you get a nice narrative arc through the book. Next from Amicus is Amicus High Interest. These are books that are purely for fun. Again, we're at a second grade reading level. And this imprint is dedicated currently to the Inspire brand of celebrity bios. These are biographies of popular figures from sports, entertainment, music, and beyond. And we have a nice addition to the collection this season. Just a little backstory. One thing I really appreciate about the Amicus line is that when they do a series like this, or a sports series, a general sports series, they're always careful to have a even representation of guys and gals. So you'll see it's subtle, but when you see a set like this, you're like, okay, we've got 4 guys, 4 gals, so keeping it fair, and trying to be as representative of our readership as possible. Again, a really kind of color-drenched set of interiors, crisp photos, and a welcoming design. Amicus has really come into its own in recent years, and many of you will remember series from the Amicus Illustrated imprint. These include things like Making Good Choices and My Life With, where they've delved into health, emotional health, SEL issues, and using a narrative nonfiction framework that is illustrated rather than photographic. And it's given them freedom to explore interesting topics in ways that go beyond the limitations of standard photography. This season, they have a new set on incredible migrations, 6 different kinds of animals who are making astounding annual journeys from one part of the planet to another. These are done at a second grade level, second to third grade, as well as a continuation of Tale versus Truth, which is a fascinating ongoing series that is basically about critical thinking. How do you discern what is fact, what is fiction? And the way they approach it is through fairy tales, familiar stories, breaking down how to literally figure out what is truth, what is fiction. So an important skill that we're trying to cultivate at all ages. Okay, so Amicus really gets you launched, it gets you started. Black Rabbit has been on a mission for pretty much the last decade to help you once you start hitting some hurdles. And they're present. They tend to start earlier these days. So Black Rabbit is more or less working with striving readers of all ages. And that begins with Bolt Jr., which are for the littlest kids. We used to really zero in on third grade and up, but we got a lot of requests to really start earlier. So Bolt Jr. gives you a 24-page format with books written at a first grade reading level, but with an interest range that extends well beyond that, up to third grade. They're very photographic, whereas Amicus is kind of friendly. Black Rabbit has a little more edge, a little more sash. And always a little bit of, a little bit of attitude. So you see that in the covers of these books, and inside you find an accessible text and a light use of infographics. They use a lot of nice compare and contrast setups. When you progress to the Bolt imprint, you're now at really meaty books. These are 32-page books, and they're written at a third grade level, but the interest range goes all the way up to middle school. So this is where you got books on high interest topics that you do not need to be embarrassed to be carrying around if you're in middle school, basically. Again, we've got things like the e-sport revolution, which are really coming into play in terms of that tech theme that you'll see throughout these lists. Again, for middle school, another approach to striving readers is the top rank program. These are less about just high-low and high interest, but they use a format where you've got multiple chapters, 6 chapters in each of the top rank, the list books, and each chapter acts as a standalone reading experience. So the list strain of this of top rank is a 24-page format written at a 3rd grade level with an interest range up to 6th grade. And it's a mix of high interest and more curricular topics. They're very visual, they're very photographic, and again, you can dip in and out of these. One chapter is a complete experience, and hopefully that one chapter will give you a feeling of accomplishment and success so that you come back for more. To me, where it gets really interesting is where you get to top rank in depth, which is a higher reading level. These are now 48-page books. They're really robust, written at a 4th grade reading level with an interest range that extends all the way up through middle school and into high school. So some pretty, these are books that are written for older kids who just happen to be reading below grade level. And in these, you have 12 chapters that all can act as individual reading experiences, though of course they do relate. So check those out for your older kids who are striving, but need something that gives them the accomplishment and success and encouragement to keep going. All right, and then finally today, Amicus gets you started. Black Rabbit helps you over the hurdles. Creative is there for the lifetime of your reading experience as a kid, from pre-K all the way to high school. They're really known for the beautiful looking books, incredibly appealing, and that begins at the lowest level with starting out. Starting out is a 16-page format for pre-K to grade 1. They use a first-person perspective in most books. They make some lovely little read-alouds if you have that opportunity. As you progress up the reading scale, you get to Marvels. These are books written for 1st graders. They have a light theme that's related to comic books. So you see that in the look of the covers, but you also see it inside each of these books where you get little text bubbles. So whatever the featured animal or machine may be, they have a voice in the story, and it adds a touch of levity to these otherwise, straightforward informational texts. We're really well known for the Amazing brand, which includes Amazing Animals. And this year, this season, it includes Amazing Winter Olympics. These Olympic sets have been incredibly popular, and we've seen the demand for them continue well after the games, usually for about 18 months after the games. So in the lead up to the coming Olympics and the aftermath, we expect great demand on these books. Classic, amazing format. Amazing Animals will be back with more English titles in the spring, but this winter we're so pleased to have our first set of bilingual titles. These are some of our most popular titles from the series. They're already available in English as well as Spanish, but this is the first time we've been able to offer a bilingual edition. And because of the open format, Catherine Camisa earlier was talking about being able to use generous white space. That is true in Amazing Animals, and it has allowed us the luxury of placing the text side by side, which is a fantastic option. But before we hit the Olympics and before we get to this next set of amazing books, I also want to shout out a perfect set of botanical books for a Halloween theme, and that is the Look series of fascinating and horrifying plants. I just love the idea of putting these on a Halloween table. These are books for older kids, 2nd and 3rd grade, older, upper elementary, giving you life cycles of some of the weirdest plants out there. And then moving up to the older kids, you know us really well for our big team sports history books, but we're doing smaller sets now, including things like the NFL Hall of Famers, Super Bowl stories, and World Cup winners. These are books for 3rd grade and up, and they just give us a more topical range in addition to the ongoing program of team histories. When you hit middle school and high school, we offer you the Spotlight program, which includes Spotlight on Nature. These are more than single subject animal titles. They drop you into an animal's entire environment and kind of gives you a day in the life perspective. There's also one-off series like Game Changers. Once again, tech, tech, tech. These are high interest sets for older middle school and high schoolers who are drawn into the world of gaming. And then 2 sets, and I love this pairing, Voices in Hip Hop and Voices in Poetry. We have kind of the bad boys and girls of today and the bad boys and girls of yesterday. Um, all of them innovative in their day and hopefully equally relevant today. So these are books for middle school and high school. And finally, our Odysseys program for high school is now grown to extend to a range of topics, including high interest topics like natural history and Odysseys in combat. I got to see printed copies of these books recently, and they just pop off the shelf. So do check these out. They really call to you to pick them up and take a look. Odysseys is an 80-page format, and as with all of these big brands, it covers a range of formats. All right, that's it for us for fall. Thanks so much for taking a look, and thank you to Booklist for hosting today.
Thank you so much for being here, Anna, and a big thank you to all of today's presenters. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email that contains links to today's slide presentation, the title list, a certificate of completion, and a video recording of today's presentation. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those that you see here. You can also find out about the latest webinars on our social channels. Visit us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and now on Blue Sky. If you're going to AASL in St. Louis, swing by Booklist booth number 214 and say hi. We'll have free copies of our latest magazines, buttons, Reader's Advisory Fortune Tellers, which are a huge hit, and our popular reader recommendation wheel and book giveaways. We hope to see you there. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. One more huge thanks to our panelists and our sponsors, Cheriton Children's Books, The Child's World, Capstone, and The Creative Company. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.